people come to me with ideas, and I sometimes I think they're, like, I don't know about that idea, but I'll tell them, listen, I'm not sure I can tell you how to make that idea work because it might not be an idea that I would do personally, but I would never tell you your idea is not going to work.
No. Ooh, that's better, right, babe?
Yeah!
Yeah. She founded an architectural concrete company.
He founded a $100 million clothing company.
She took the world by storm as a social media star.
He took the world by storm as a famous serial entrepreneur.
Together we started a business.
And had babies.
Now we're figuring out the best ways to do both.
Join us as we learn from other entrepreneurs going through the same life struggles.
As they share their life hacks about success, love, kids.
And everything in between.
If you have an idea that you genuinely think is good, don't let someone talk you out of it. Quote by Stan Lee. The most effective way to do it is just do it. Quote by Amelia Earhart.
Welcome to another great episode of the Pretty and Punk Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Dan Caldwell, and I'm here with my beautiful wife and my beautiful daughter, Ildiko Ferenczi.
Ildiko Ferenczi.
And Destiny. And we have another great podcast for you guys today. We just wanted to talk a little bit about, we were having some conversations about somebody that I was talking to who always always has these ideas, always has an idea.
Yeah.
I had $1 for every time somebody walked up to me and said, well, I got this idea for, and you know what? I enjoy hearing other people's ideas. I really do. What I don't enjoy is hearing people's ideas and then like hearing that same idea 4 years later when I'm talking to them again and they haven't done anything about it. So that's what we want to talk a little bit about is ideas without execution are basically useless and they go nowhere. So before we jump into that, hey guys, we hope you're enjoying today's episode of the Pretty and Punk Podcast. And if you are, and you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button. It just takes a second. It means so much to us because it really helps the podcast get out there to more listeners like you guys. And if you know anybody that might help and you can send it to them, we really appreciate that too.
We also love and appreciate your reviews. Even the babies look forward to them every day. If you share this episode on social media today, don't forget to tag us. We want to celebrate you because we know it's not easy being a parent in business, and the way that you juggle things makes you a superhero. That's worth a shout out. Together, we have a community of our personal followers as well, and we just want to put it out there. We want to show everybody that this juggle is possible, and you are our family, and we're so proud and grateful to have you a part of this family. So don't forget, all the links are below in the show notes. And thank you again, and let's get back to the show. We all have those moments of inspiration where ideas are flooding our minds, but here's the hard truth. The ideas without the execution, as you mentioned, are useless, completely useless.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the point?
They go nowhere.
Mm-hmm. So let's dive into why taking action is crucial and how you can turn your dreams and passions of the things that you are called to do into reality.
Yeah, I mean, there's a study from New York University about how if someone, let's see, I'm probably going to interpret this wrong, but if someone writes down their ideas or takes some action towards their ideas, they're twice as likely to complete them. And I think that's, I mean, I've never really had that problem. So I'm always, and I get it though, it can be scary that you're going to, put money towards something that people are going to, and you know what, when I've always took offense to someone saying that you're scared to do something, like, people are scared to do something. I don't know, people aren't scared, but you know what? It really is true. When you stand back and you think about it, someone has this idea and they're not scared of maybe losing, or they're not scared of maybe their friend telling them, see, you messed up. But maybe they're scared of like a family member saying that, I told you so.
That's
or
weird.
They're scared of, because I think everybody thinks that they're going to be scared of losing money. And maybe that's not the thing that actually worries them. Or it could be.
Yeah.
It could be the thing that worries them, that they're going to put maybe they have a family and they're going to put their family's money
maybe they're at that
towards
last step where they don't have anything saved or invested, and they're thinking about doing this new thing, but if it doesn't work out, it could wipe them clean and that's it. Like it's their last chance. I mean, I could see the fear of that, but I'd just be so disappointed if they are actually scared to do something because they fear what other people would think. That would be a sad thought.
But I think that's probably most of the time the case.
Oh my gosh, really?
And they don't,
That's
think about it,
terrible.
because they may not consciously think that that's the reason, but there's something too when someone puts out to the world, oh yeah, I'm going to start doing this, so I'm spending time doing this, and immediately everybody's going to go, oh, you're really going to try to do that? Oh, that's kind of hard to do, don't you think? Or don't you think, what happens if you lose that money? Isn't that going to be a lot of, it's like they already start in on you, and then if you aren't mentally tough, if you are mentally tough to deal with that, and the best of us, I don't care how good you are, that can weigh on you a little bit. And so I think that that's a factor. But I just don't understand why, if you're so excited about this idea, the people that come to us and say, oh, I got this idea to I'm thinking about opening this bar, or I'm thinking about start my own record company or whatever it is. I'm thinking about, think about how many people say, hey, I want to start a podcast. And you see those people, year late, 2 years later, and they still haven't started a podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
We put off starting a podcast for a while too. So, I get it.
We jumped into it and then we took a pause, but that was just because it's the two of us. If it was just a podcast myself, like you went after some dreams and things like that, which is great. And I supported you, but I just really wanted to do this podcast together as a family. So I thought, I'm not going to go. Sorry, I have Destiny in my lap and she's falling asleep. So it's making it awkward to get into the mic. But yeah, I don't, it's hard. It's just hard to imagine that someone's not going to go through with something. Stop making those weird. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Oh, okay. He's making these hand gestures, and it keeps making
turn your
me
mic this way.
Forget. I'm like, what am I?
No,
what do you?
sorry.
Why? He's like, what are you saying?
I was making gestures without saying, turn the mic this way. Sorry. So it's like, I just no, I get it though. I think that people have to get used to taking action. Like I write all my things in my little notes here. Like I have a whole page for it.
Here's the research
ideas that I'm going to do someday.
Yeah, of course. And always write them down. I feel like always have a book filled with ideas. It's inspiration for that idea or something else. But here's the studies. And this is really interesting. And this has to do with your New Year's resolution, that only 8% of people achieve their New Year's resolutions. Why? Because having an idea is just the first step, and execution is what makes it real. So what you were tapping on, it's the execution and going ahead with it. So according to the Harvard Business Review, successful people are those who take consistent, actionable steps towards their goals.
Hold on. I got a Harvard. Hold on. I got a.
What does your Harvard say?
I got a Harvard one too here. Hey, I got a Harvard one too. Oh, okay. Here it is. So it just says, basically, I mean, I'll summarize it because it actually doesn't give numbers. I hate when they do this. They don't give you like 80% of people. They don't give you a number, but they basically says that people who take action on their ideas, and this is kind of a cool one. People who take action on their ideas, and this is something that people should listen to who aren't taking action. People who take action on their ideas are more likely to succeed overall in the future at some point in their life, whether they have failure or not at that point. So what it's basically saying is the study says that it emphasizes that action, even without immediate success or success at all at that point, builds experience and resilience. So you have like, you think about the people who, I mean, how many people failed in their first few businesses? I failed in my first business. You failed in their first few businesses and eventually found success. So those people who at least try, who at least make the effort to start something and to move forward on something, even if it fails, that they're more likely to succeed overall at the end of the game. And we always say this, that, you're never going to fail if you don't quit. So you may actually kind of not, your first business might not work out.
But you're going to learn
but
from
eventually you're going to be a success.
You're going to learn from
quit.
all those things. And I don't like to call anything a failure or a mistake because it is a lesson. You're going to learn something from that. And there's nothing more valuable than a lesson from some kind of life experience. But here's another thing that I want to top off on what you were saying. The best advice out there, the Bible, it has advice for everything, right?
The best self-help book in the world.
Yeah. The Bible also emphasizes the importance of action. So James 2:17 says, in the same way, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. And this verse reminds us that belief and intention must be paired with action to bring about change.
Yeah.
So there it is.
I mean, it's and I love Les Brown's example of, the richest place in the world is the cemetery.
Oh,
it's not the diamond mines in Africa, he says. It's the cemetery because it's where all those ideas have died without being executed, without moving forward with them. So you have all these ideas, these people who don't move forward with it. I mean, think about it. How many times have you been sitting next to somebody and they said, a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine just said it yesterday.
They see something and then they're like, I thought of that
literally
first,
yesterday. I don't want to name him, but he's an actor. He's played in a bunch of big movies. But he says, and I love the guy. But he said to me, he says, every time I see this idea, he says he used to work at a store, like a retail store. And he worked there when he was a teenager. And he said he used to always do this thing with these bags. He used to tie up these bags all the time in a way that you could carry them. And then he thought, wouldn't it be cool if somebody came up with an idea where you could like put this plastic thing and just stick it on both sides and it becomes like a handle. And so that you could carry things that couldn't fit in the bags, like toilet paper and paper towels and those things that couldn't fit in the bags. And then sure enough, one day he's in like Walmart or something and he sees this thing being slapped on paper towels so that people have a handle to carry it. And he's like, 20 years ago, I thought of this idea. Could you imagine the guy that's probably making that little licensing fee or that little fee, for like the guy that made the shopping cart, that guy wrote a book.
I think we've all had that moment where you've thought of something, but you didn't execute it.
Oh, yeah.
Because it didn't.
Remember Story Stove?
Oh gosh, yeah.
I had this idea for, I just thought, wouldn't this be cool? And I kind of was playing with the idea how
now they
somebody
have
could
it.
call in. Yeah, somebody could. So years ago, we're driving in the car, and I thought, wouldn't it be awesome to have this where our parents, especially our parents, but our kids or us or anybody could call, like have an audible way on our phones, like an app where you could push the button and it would ask you a question, and then you'd push the button and answer the question verbally. And it would ask all the right questions, and then it would put all your answers together to kind of create a story. And
I was trying to tell you, I have this on an app, and I've been doing it since the babies were babies. Like it asks me, it texts me all the time, asking.
I thought there was a better way to
questions.
do it, to create it into a book that they could actually put download and create an audio book.
Yeah, they make it into an album or a book, and they've been asking me questions.
And
Since
so
the
I
babies were
bought this
born.
.com, storystove.com, and I thought, like a stove, like you're cooking it up, and I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna buy
It's a
this
fun name,
and put this
for sure.
together. And put it on hold, and someday if I ever have time in my life to start a new company or a new startup, then I'm gonna run with that one.
But so what do you think
never
was
had the time.
stopping you? Because you weren't excited enough. I don't.
No,
think
I just
it's
I had
because-
other businesses going
I don't
on.
exactly, but I
So
don't
it
think
wasn't-
it was
it wasn't
because
that I wasn't-
anyone was judging you or
No,
any
no,
of
no.
those things. It just
No.
you have other stuff going.
No, I just
and
had
it
other
didn't
businesses
excite
going.
you enough.
No,
to
you
like,
can't spread your forces. It's like I always say. I remember somebody telling me one time that
But there are some people that are running 87 businesses out there.
No, but here's the thing.
more.
Charles told me this one time, and I'll never forget this. He said he was talking about when he was in the military, he was in the Marines. He said that Charles was my ex-partner who passed away. He said that one time he was told in his training, he said that we would all be speaking German right now if Hitler wouldn't have spread his forces so thin across the board. So he was attacking on all these different fronts, and he said, and he used that in an example of why we should concentrate on one thing that we were doing rather than try to do these 10 different things that we were thinking about starting. And I just always remembered that. And I always thought, that applies to everything that we do. And if you want to be successful, and I'm sure you've heard people say, if you want to be successful, you have to concentrate and put your time put your time into one thing rather than try to do 10 different things at once. It's like finish this thing first and then do something else. And that I just applied that same thing to this, is that if we want it right now, we were doing a certain business. And I think I was doing grip knife at the time. And so we were building this knife company. And I wanted to do that one thing, get it done right before I went jumping on to some other business. And then we started a different business. And, but like it's still on my phone. It's still in my notes. And it's lined up, queued up, ready to go if I ever want to.
I feel like I have a lot of ideas too.
What's idea? Give me an idea. Give me an idea that you thought of one time that,
Well, it needs to.
Give me an idea that failed. I'm sure you had a fail. Did you have a failed business that didn't work out? No, you pretty much
I
because
feel
you jumped
like
right into your
everything
business,
went
your
really,
concrete
really
business.
well,
But you
even-
pivoted.
Yeah, pivot. That's what I'm trying to get to, because I shouldn't have stopped the concrete company when I did it. It was the most successful. But I felt like, and this is what I want to say, Destiny's snoring. Oh my goodness. Hold on.
It's okay.
I just like, for me, I really listen to my heart and my prayers. And I feel like even the swimwear line, I had to do a pivot. Daniel was born. And I knew if I had a daughter first, and I'll never forget the way you looked at me when I had a son. It was like I was magic or something. But if I would have had a daughter, yes, I probably would have gone and, just kept going with the swimwear line. We were getting on covers.
Yeah.
We were in Monte Carlo, French Riviera, Cannes. We had all these beautiful hotels asking me where the bikinis were from. They wanted to have it in their boutique. I knew I was onto something when I would bring my swimwear to shoots, girls would be asking me to shoot in my swimwear because it was so flattering. But having a son and then all of a sudden understanding the responsibilities and what goes into parenting, I just knew it had to be a deeper thing. And then we came up with the billionaire collection.
Yeah, I mean, that was, I think we just wanted to be deep. It just felt like it was more deep.
Well, it was educational. I grew up, with my mom, and she had several different businesses, and my favorites, of course, well, I liked all her businesses, but I liked the real estate. I liked the jewelry store. And I also loved the antique shop because she had a lot of really interesting high-end pieces, and she set it up like a museum where doctors and attorneys and just all these successful people would come and spend their lunch there looking for treasures. So when we started talking about that idea of, because we had already collected these amazing documents, and I mean, who doesn't want to connect something that resonates with them? There's always something, a very important piece of, we're selling history. There's an important piece of history that you connect with. And you and I were both nerdy about quotes. And then nobody's ever paired having history with a quote that just lit a fire in you when you were trying to build a business or build my concrete company, even the swimwear line, in acting. I would post triggering quotes around the house. And now I feel like we do it with Bible
kids.
Verses too. But things that are a million times over in my head, by his stripes I will be healed. Those types of things. Now,
well, that's what
there's a lot
those are
of
deeper. That's a deeper thing, and sometimes you get into a business when you feel like, man, I'm not changing the world with this business. I don't feel like I'm doing anything to further myself or my family. I feel like I'm just making money, and sometimes I'm not even doing that.
Yes,
so
that's what I felt like with the concrete company. I was making lots of money. I could have anything I wanted, and that was really great.
But
I
was
felt
actually making
empty.
a lot of money.
I felt empty. I felt sad.
Yeah, but what did the bikini company feel like? Because at that point, you were kind of like just pivoted and said, I don't want to do this anymore.
I loved that too, but then I knew that it wasn't a real, I knew it was not, I don't want to say luck, because I worked very hard with the connections and I worked very hard to get into the magazines, but it was this very glamorous life where, we're hanging out with people that were billionaires.
Yeah, but what made you stop it? What made you say?
Because I didn't want Daniel to step into this red carpet crazy movie scene with all these, and I don't want to say that the women aren't real, but I've never resorted to cosmetic surgery, but I have to say every person I worked with,
just kind of a fake world.
It was a world where it's so
it didn't feel right bringing the kids up in that.
Right. I don't want them to think that this is normal, that everybody's driving a Lamborghini and everybody's in the south of France. And I wanted him to understand that even when you've made it, even these men that are in the south of France and hanging out with these models and stuff, they did work hard, and maybe they didn't come from success. The women sure fell into a place where, and it was hard for me to have the conversations with a lot of those women. There was a few women in the industry that did work hard, but there was a lot of women that just got to, people might not like me for saying this, but they got into where they were because they were beautiful. And I wanted him to understand hard work. I wanted him to be around women of culture, the culture that I grew up in. And I knew I was lucky to be in this life, but I wanted him to understand how to become resilient. I wanted him to understand the story, like with the Billionaire Collection, all these entrepreneurs, all these leaders, all these documents that were signed were from people that worked so hard in life and that have a very interesting backstory of how either their parents struggled or they struggled.
Well, it's because
and
of their hard
failed
work.
and
We're
won.
talking about them right now.
Exactly.
I think
So you learn. I mean, even right now we have that exciting Ali piece, and how excited is our whole, the people that are in this business, because there's this new reality show coming out.
No, it's not a reality show. It's
I'm
a
so
scripted
sorry.
film.
Yeah, I'm tired. I've got Destiny giving me
It's
her
a
sleepy.
scripted film
It's
about
a scripted film.
or a show, series about.
It's a series, yes.
About this robbery that happened.
No, but that's
Muhammad
not
Ali's
even the
fight.
part that's
Yeah.
exciting.
Well, it's about Ali's fight.
The contract that he signed is the very fight.
That's in the movie.
That's in the
show.
show.
Yeah. I
So
think
that's
that
exciting.
I get that.
And how hard did he work? And he had to say, what did he say? I am the best, right?
I think a lot of people find something in their work as they start to move forward. Like,
right.
you know,
And
when
then
you think
as
about,
they evolve
as
and
they
they grow
evolve.
into, as soon as I became a mother, different things were important to me. My idea of success before having a baby was different. It was different. And then success is different. Like I don't need to be around Lamborghinis and in a 50. I would be happy with enough rooms for just us, a smaller house, to be able to travel. And there's so many of our celebrity friends and multimillionaire friends that are like, I downgraded my home because I realized that it was so much work. I had all these people coming in to clean it, and we decided to downgrade and do things ourselves. And how amazing it's once they became parents and they realized the true importance, what is truly important. And even this podcast, I knew that this was what we loved doing. Even if there was only one person, if we could only change one person's life or trigger something within them to think different or to come back to God or to learn about God for the first time ever through the miracles they're experiencing in life or through the hardship that they're going through to realize that it can't rain forever. The sun's going to shine again, no matter what you're going through, because we've been through stuff. You've been through stuff. I've been through serious stuff too. The illness, diagnosis, losing loved ones. And to have people look at you and say, wow, like you've actually been through it. You've actually built a business and tap out. That's an incredible achievement when it comes to business.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what it is.
Well, I think that these guys.
It doesn't go to your ego. It's like God gave you that experience to help other people, and also learning from our mistakes that we made in life. I mean, something happened in my life to, get me sick, and now I have this platform, and I'm trying to tell people, listen, read your labels. What are you doing in your life that can cause you to be sick? I mean, I know when they told me the diagnosis, I knew things needed to change and my life would never be the same again. I haven't drank since then. I won't put a pop to my lips. There's things that I won't do. I won't even feed my kids don't even know what a Dorito is, because it's opened my eyes to a way where I'm understanding, wash your clothes different, clean your house differently. You have to eat different. Everything is going to change, and it's not a bad thing. It's a blessing. And I can share those things with other people if they have the mindset and that, what is it called? When you're strong, not strong-willed, but I feel like all those years that I went to the gym and I worked out for hours every single day and got mad at myself if I I missed a day. Well, that was kind of toxic, but it was preparing me for my healing journey because I could never have a pop again. I could never have certain things in my life again.
Right.
So it was that mindset. There's everything in your life is setting you up. Like, oh, there you go, baby. Hold on.
Yeah, I think that, that's why I think like you're talking right now is that you have to be passionate about something to really stick to it, it feels like, or you got to find something. And I know like, Airbnb, when they started their company, the whole reason it's called Airbnb is because it was about renting out like air mattresses inside their house. It was about allowing someone to sleep inside your house in your living room on an air mattress. People who needed a place to stay, and that's where the name Airbnb comes from. Air bed and breakfast basically is what it was. And I think that at some point they pivoted, but they found like that they were helping the world by giving them a place to stay when they didn't have a lot of money and there wasn't a place to stay. They felt like they were changing a little piece of the world, just a little piece, their corner of the world, by helping people to have a place to stay. And even now, today, I just saw. Have you seen that ad where they're talking about staying inside a house, and they said, you could either live, but like imagine like they were showing you could stay at a hotel where you're all staying in the same room, and you have to like go to bed at the same time your kids go to bed because everybody's sleeping in the hotel room together, or you could have a little bit more fun on your vacation by allowing, if you got an Airbnb, a whole house, you put the kids to bed early, and then you and your husband or you and your wife could celebrate together, by being downstairs in the rest of the part of the house and kind of enjoy yourself for a few hours, So they were saying like they're giving you a life, and they're finding the bigger meaning in their businesses. And sometimes that's just what you have to do. When you're starting a business, you have to find a different, Tap Out, we're not changing the world with Tap Out. We were changing a little piece of the world when we were helping fighters train, because we were paying them a salary so that they could train, so that they could fight and change their life for their families, achieve their dreams. We created this believe, on all of our shirts, or a lot of our shirts, because we want people to believe in something bigger than them. And that's, and that kind of resonated with people. And it felt like we were changing just a little part of the world when we would go help people, help fighters, to be able to finance their road to the UFC.
Right.
And so, I think a lot of people, if they don't find that, they may not take that first step that they need to take because they're trying to find a bigger meaning in it. And if they can find if they can put together a business or something that they want to do where there's a bigger meaning, they're more likely, I think, to take that first step. So what are some of the things that people can do to actually make sure that they follow through with what they say they're going to do? This big idea. They have this big idea because it's that's how it all starts. And they talk about, I got this big idea. How do we not see this person 4 years later? What do we tell them? What do we say to them next time? So that 4 years from now, and I'm sure I've said a few things to people, and I'm sure you have too. What do we tell them so that we don't talk to them 4 years later and they're still saying the same thing and they haven't done anything yet?
Pray for the answers. That's number one.
Well, that's a good one.
I think that's what I've always seen my mom do that. And I think we do that.
Yeah.
We pray for answers, but
I didn't so much before, but I mean, I prayed for help when I felt like I wanted to quit.
Right.
But I don't think I prayed for answers when I wanted to get started.
I feel like now you and I would pray
now for everything. Now I pray for everything.
Lead us in the right direction. Surround us with the right people. Remove the wrong people. I think that's a number one for me. I know that's not on a business tactical list. Like on the business tactical list, it's set clear goals right? That would probably be a number one. Set clear goals, define what you want to achieve, and be specific and set measurable targets. So that would be a number one. And then a number two, create a plan. Have a breakdown of your goals into smaller, manageable tasks. And that makes the process that you're going through less overwhelming and more achievable. And as a number three, as we were discussing, earlier, take immediate action. But start with one small step today and, keep going.
Yeah, well, I think one of the first things you can do, and I think we even did a podcast on this a long time ago, is just talking about whether we tell people or not. And I always felt like when you start telling people what you're going to do.
To tell people.
Yeah, but I
get
and this
it.
was our argument. This was what our podcast.
Yeah.
You remember that podcast we held? I think it was last year sometime.
Ground.
But I think what the reason for me or the reason for them should be is you start telling people around you what you're going to do, and they start tell people that are going to hold you accountable. That are standing next to you that go, hey, did you start that business yet?
Well, and it could be because of procrastination. Procrastination is the enemy of progress. So maybe secretly that you're going to procrastinate unless you hold yourself accountable or have people to have you be accountable.
Yeah, that's why I like telling people.
List. So seeking accountability.
Yeah, there's a certain amount of
one of
accountability.
The lists of tactical
it's why
things
and maybe
to do.
Getting a coach. That's a good.
Right.
I mean, how about a step on? It's
well,
like
maybe a coach because yes, seeking accountability and sharing your goal with someone who can hold you accountable. This could be a family member, a friend, a mentor, a coach. But I think if you're trying to avoid the people that could potentially talk you out of it, then seek for someone that's achieved what you want to achieve.
For sure.
And do it that way.
Yeah, because if you find other successful people, a successful person's never going to tell you no. They're going to tell you, first of all, I would never, people come to me with ideas, and I sometimes I think they're, like, I don't know about that idea, but I'll tell them, listen, I'm not sure I can tell you how to make that idea work because it might not be an idea that I would do personally, but I would never tell you your idea is not going to work.
Oh,
because
no.
That's your dream on your heart.
Yeah, God put that in heart and soul.
That's not a dream
it's
for
not
me.
For
I
me
don't
to
see
understand why you're going.
Or how you're going to get it done. But God placed something in your heart.
Yeah.
So that you can get that done.
Yeah, that's right.
And if you feel like, and that's why I suggest prayer, because if you feel like that dream is for you, that you're supposed to accomplish that for one reason or another,
come to you,
then that's coming to you. You're going to figure it out.
And that's a crazy thing when you're on the right path and doors just start opening. And you understand how hard it is, how risky it is, but the blessings are coming and you can't even deny it. But then there's these times where you really want something so bad and you feel like, this is happening or that's happening. The doors are closing. And I feel like when you look back on it, you're like, wow, God was trying to bless me, because if I really would have got exactly what I wanted, it would have been a bad thing.
I know.
Or
I was just talking about somebody who was supposed to invest in Tap Out early on in the company, and the day I was supposed to pick up the check from them to go, and I was hemorrhaging bills all over the place, and I thought I couldn't wait to get there because he's going to give me this $500,000 check, and I'm like, man, this is going to take care of so many problems. And I get there, and he tells me he has his attorney there to tell me that it's not going to work, but. What a blessing that I didn't give him away a third of the company for $500,000, because that would have been the worst mistake of my life.
So
best thing he ever did.
It felt awful on your end, but then later looking back, you realize that was one of the biggest blessings. It all worked out the way it was supposed to. Exactly. So never get lost in that, because you're going to look back and you're going to understand.
Yeah,
that.
there's so many things along the way. And that's one thing. And I just point that out to say that that's one thing.
Yeah.
But there's probably been 50 things.
Yeah.
So
100
things.
Out of the things that you may think is bad, great blessings.
Great blessing that it didn't happen that way.
Mm-hmm. And then staying consistent. Consistency is key. Make it a habit of working towards your goal every single day, even if it's just a little bit. And then I think the last thing that I can come up with is, reflect and adjust. Regularly review your progress and make necessary adjustments. Flexibility is important for long-term success, right?
Yeah. I think it's just, you got to get started. You got to start and you can't quit. Like you just can't quit. You will not fail if you don't quit.
Yeah.
So many people, they go and they do a few things like get the website and then they maybe even get the website started, but then they get to the part where they feel like they're overwhelmed and they don't understand it and they quit.
Unless it gives you an idea to do something else, like a pivot.
Yeah, but
you
don't be one of the
but
shiny object syndrome.
But as I said,
you gotta be careful.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because if you're an entrepreneur at heart, you're going to have shiny object syndrome. You're always going to see something else you can do. Oh, what if I did that? Or what if I did this?
But at the same time, as you and I, we did pivot. And I mean, I feel like maybe it shouldn't be in the beginning, but you're going to know in your heart ultimately if
I never stop a business if I don't see that
potential.
if I really believe in that business, I'm not going to stop. You're not going to, I'm not going to pivot because I'm not going to stop in the first place.
No, but you're going to understand. It's going to be very clear. I want to make it crystal clear that it's going to be crystal clear of why you're pivoting.
Exactly.
Like it's not going to be confusing.
I mean, it wasn't confusing.
Won't be a hard decision.
Remember Give Stars when we started Give Stars?
Yeah.
I mean, I knew that business wasn't going any further. That business stopped itself because it wasn't going to, I mean, it's an amazing business.
Oh, God.
Oh, my gosh. If I could talk about it for an hour, but it was a great business.
Yeah.
It was a great idea and a great business model. But when it stopped and it wasn't going any further. It was done. And I knew it, so there wasn't like revamping up. I was like, that was a great run. We did some amazing things. I mean, we filmed I hired Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad to do the commercial for us. And we did some amazing things trying to build that business, and it just didn't work. And we stopped, and it was done. Yeah. And it was an experience, and I learned a lot from it. But it was done. Exactly. And I moved on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like is going to happen.
It's going to be
You'll know.
Crystal clear.
Crystal clear. It's not working. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Pretty and Punk podcast. We hope you got something from that, from our mistakes, our experiences, the things that we go through. There's so many people that come up to us, and don't be afraid. Hey, I know we said that we get all these people that come up to us, but if we do talk to you about if you come up with this idea, we love hearing your ideas. You can hit us up on Instagram. We love to hear about your idea, and we will hold you a little bit accountable. So if we hear it once, we better know some updates about that you're really moving forward with this, whatever this idea is, if it's a good one. If you really feel like it's weighing on your heart that you were given this idea by God, this dream by God, this is your purpose right now to be doing that, then go do that. Because I feel like there's chapters in life that, you go through certain chapters in your life and you are where you're supposed to be at that time.
Yes.
I feel like Tap Out, I was supposed to be there at that time, and then, later on, I was supposed to be somewhere else. So, and when I was a police officer, I was supposed to be there at that time, and then I was supposed to be at Tap Out, and then I was supposed to be where I am now. So, those things, I feel like you're going to go through those transitions in life, so don't be worried about that. You need to figure out, is that where you're supposed to be right there at this time?
Yeah.
And so,
because I feel like we have not just one. I mean, maybe we do have one assignment in life, but I feel like there are several assignments that come to you through life. and your heart knows because, you know, it just knows. You're just gonna feel it and you're just gonna know.
100%.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Pretty and Punk Podcast, and we will catch you guys next week.
Yeah, see you next week. God bless. Take care.
You've been listening to the Pretty and Punk Podcast. Make sure to subscribe and like. God bless. Thank you for listening to this week's Pretty and Punk Podcast. I hope you learned something today, and I hope to see you next week.